in February 2002. It was a warm summer's night on Stradbroke Island in Australia. I'm in college, and a few of us rent a house for the weekend. We're having the time of our life. We're dancing and listening to loud music. We're playing drinking games. We're being responsible, of course. A few of us walk to the water, and we climb up on the rocks to a pier. Up on the pier, I remember I couldn't even see my hand in front of my face. It was just so dark out. But the stars, they were magnificent. They were lighting up the sky, brighter than any sun. And the ocean, the ocean was intense. 8-foot waves were crashing against the pier that we were standing on, and it would shoot up water. I remember being underneath the water, and it was coming down on us, and we were laughing, but the sound of the ocean was drowning out our laughter because it was just roaring. And I remember looking down at the water thinking, I wouldn't go in there. I don't know what's in there. It could be anything. It's Australia. All of a sudden, the largest wave of the night comes and hits against the pier. It shoots up water, and I remember looking up at it, and it just drenches us. We're laughing and looking at each other, and wait, where's Christina? Where'd she go? The wave? As I'm asking the question, she comes rushing in from the next wave, and she comes in smacking against the rocks, and I lean down and I try to grab her, and I just can't see her. It's so dark. Where'd she go? And she comes flying in again. She hits the rocks again, but I can't reach her. But I can see her back. It's all cut up from the rocks, and she's bleeding in the water. And the next wave comes, and instead of pulling her out, it pulls her under. I hear her yell, "Help! Help!" Now, I'm not Superman, but in that moment, I felt like I was. I jumped in and I grabbed her with all my might. I threw her up on the rocks, and now what? Now the strength of the rip current is pulling me out. I grab onto this rock with all my strength, and I claw in with my nails this kind of slippery moss, and I dig into it, and I grab on as hard as I can, and the wave's ripping me out, but I hold on just long enough for the next wave to miraculously kick me up. My hands are bleeding. Underneath my fingernails, there's the moss from the rocks, and I'm safe. Christina's safe. But my life would never be the same again. A few days later, I ran into Christina at school, and she looked up to me, and she said, "Thank you for saving my life." But to this day, I never got the opportunity thanking her for changing mine. That day, I decided that I would no longer take the simple way and do what other people felt like I should do. I was going to start to design my own life, and I made a promise to myself that I would live by design and not by default. What is your default? Waking up every day, hitting the snooze button over and over again, looking at your phone every 10 seconds, connecting with it more than your loved one. Or my personal favorite, I'll exercise tomorrow, or better yet, Monday. What does design look like? rise and shine. They're not just words. Action influences time. First, you'll create a few more minutes, and maybe those minutes will turn into hours every day. Day after day, you create, with those hours, you create an extra day. 8 days a week, that requires a new mindset. It doesn't require superhero powers. It just requires the ability to show up, commit to simple, not easy, but simple actions consistently. So how do you design your 8th day? After 15 years of research and results, I found out that there are 3 characteristics of people that live by design. Characteristic number 1. In 1983, in front of a trailer in the Florida Keys, a 4-year-old boy is in a physical tug of war between his mother and his father. The mother can smell alcohol in the father's breath. She fears for the safety of her son. The grandmother comes out of the trailer and tries to separate them. She gets thrown down by the father. The mother, somehow screaming, rips the boy out of the father's hand, goes into the trailer and locks the door. The father bangs on the door and says, "I'm going to break it down." The boy doesn't know what's going on. The boy thinks maybe he did something wrong. Well, that night, the mother took the boy on a plane and never looked back. She chose to create a new reality, to move, to design a new life for her and her son. That 4-year-old boy was me. And my mom was my first coach on movement. Because mom moved in such a radical form, physical change happened, yes, but there was a mental shift from feeling stuck to feeling safe, and an emotional response to feeling scared to now feeling free. You see, movement isn't just limited to the physical change, to look good, or because the doctor told you to, but movement can get your mind right. It can help you have mental clarity. And movement can help you feel. It feels good to move, but it also feels good to feel. For me, movement creates freedom. Sure, getting down and grabbing heavy battle ropes and jumping up and slamming them, that's movement. But this is movement too. What can movement be for you? Let's do something simple. Let's go ahead and put our arms up for a moment. Let's celebrate movement and celebrate the moment. With a deep breath in, I'm going to have you make a nice, just squeeze your fist nice and tight. Ready? We'll breathe in. Spread your fingers out nice and wide and release your arms down and breathe out. That's how simple movement can be. Why do we move? We need more energy. The more you move, the more energy you get. You need energy for your loved ones. You need energy for your partner. You need energy for your children and for your community, even for your craft. So some different forms of movement. Dancing. Walking your puppy. This is my champion, Sir Ferguson. Swimming. Playing with your children. Even standing, especially when you move as much as I do. Even a massage can be movement. How do you start to move daily? You start to take yourself off of autopilot. Off-peak living gives birth to on-potential lifestyle. Now, what does that mean? When you start to live your life on different hours than society dictates, well then, you start to realize your potential. Off-peak living creates freedom for you to create more time. I'd like to introduce you to my number one secret weapon. It's called the 5 a.m. club. It's the easiest club to get into. There's no lines, there's no applications. You just have to wake up at 5 a.m. Wake up and show up. You'll be rewarded with an uninterrupted, let me say that again, uninterrupted hour or more for yourself when you wake up and get to celebrate your wellness at 5 a.m. You do that while everybody's sleeping. Well, you start to think, well, what movement am I going to do then? Ask yourself the question, what did I love to do when I was a child? The word movement, that gives us permission to play. Characteristic number one, move well. Characteristic number two. At Duke Integrated Medicine, I was scheduled to have a whole day of mindful eating. Now, as the foodie I am, I was thinking, that's amazing. I get to eat food all day? Well, I was given a single almond. Then I was told to put it on my tongue for 2 minutes. I said, where's the rest of the food? What? You want me to chew this for 30 times? Have you ever chewed an almond 30 times? Well, mindful eating isn't about eating tons of food. It's about learning how to taste your food. That day I learned that an almond can taste sweet. It can be watery. It can be alive. I realized that food is fuel. You must eat for energy. And that mindful eating really does is it allows you to master your metabolism. One simple thing you can do today is to put your fork down between each bite. Characteristic number two, eat well. The third characteristic I learned from Uncle Joe, a very successful businessman. He offered to hire me for business to teach me everything he knew. As long as I would commit to him for 2 years, I decided to take him up on this offer. As I'm driving to his office for our first monthly meeting, I'm wondering, what's this meeting going to be about? Is it going to be about my presentation skills? Is it going to be about my sales numbers, or is he happy with my performance? So I get to Uncle Joe's door, I knock, and I come on in. With his eyes down on the computer screen, he says, "Sit down, Slick." Am I in trouble? He stands up and he shuts the door. Whew, this is not good. He closes the blinds and shuts the lights off. "Uncle Joe, is everything okay?" I'm here to teach you, I'm here not to teach you sales, but you'll teach yourself that. I'm here to teach you how to find your center. Close your eyes. I'm led through a 20-minute breathing exercise to breathe in for 4, take in the experience, hold for 2 seconds of gratitude, and release for 6 seconds to release and let it go. He challenges me to hold my breath as a consistent pattern for 20 minutes while I visualize a peaceful place in my mind. Well, Uncle Joe's message of find your center was so powerful to me that I felt obligated and I felt a responsibility to share it with New York City. Uncle Joe helped me cultivate a champion mindset by creating space, and in that space, to appreciate the silence and to fall in love with the silence. That's where I would find my center. Now I embrace silence as a gift in this constant digital stimuli. That place of peace now is where I feel most alive. Remember, you take your center with you wherever you go. Now, tools to access your mental focus, well, it can be anything from meditation, reading, even painting, to name a few, but there always seems to be one that rises above the top, and that's journaling. You know, they say journaling and writing can be as therapeutic as a massage. Who doesn't want to get a massage daily? What do you write? Well, you start with your BID, your beauty in the day. When you start to look for beauty, you see more of it. Characteristic number 3, think well. It's the bridge that brings moving and eating well together. It's the glue that helps them work together. Move well, eat well, and think well. They give you access to living 8 days a week. I believe formulas provide focus. This is the 8 days a week formula. Desire plus discipline equals delight. Let's put this to use. What's your desire possibly to move well or eat well or think well? What would your discipline be? Wake up at 5 a.m., journal daily, put your fork down, mindful eating. That's your discipline, eventually becoming your delight. 8 days a week, it's not a marathon. It's a mini sprint, born by desire, fueled by discipline, just long enough for a healthy habit to kick in. And your delight becoming your new design. What would you do with 8 days a week? Thank you.